Hello, welcome back. This is Lab 3, Introduction to Amazon EC2, and I'm Richard Golson. I'm going to take us through Task 3, Update your security group and access the web server. In our previous two tasks, we launched a web server running on EC2 instance, and we then looked at that web server and took a look at the status and alarms and the monitoring tools and the troubleshooting tools available to us in task 2. So in our task 3, we're going to take a look at that EC2 instance and make some configuration changes. Now, you recall in that first task, we were provided a script that installed the web server and created a simple web page. We're now going to access the content from the web server. So let's take a look over here in the EC2 console, and we can see that we have the web server selected. And then on the details page, we can see that there's a public IPv4 address. So what I'm going to do is click on the copy link. So the copy public IPv4 address to clipboard. Please do not use the open address link. It will create issues. Now, when I paste this in, I'll just go ahead and select paste and go. Now, you notice the progress bar. Question: are you able to access your web server, and why not? And they were very nice. They answered this. You're not currently able to access the web server because the security group is not permitting the inbound traffic on port 80. Port 80 is used for HTTP web requests. So this is a demonstration of using a security group as a firewall to restrict network traffic that is allowed in and out of an instance. So to correct this, we're going to update our security group to permit the web traffic on port 80. So we'll leave this alone. And then we'll return to the Instances tab. I didn't realize this was still open, so I'll go ahead and close that up so we're not confused by that. And what I want to do is come down here, and under Network and Security, I can select Security Groups. Another way to do this is to go to our Security tab, and to ensure that I'm selecting the appropriate security group, I can click this link here. And I can see my inbound rules here. Now, notice we don't have any. We've removed the inbound rule that was there, and that wouldn't have worked for us anyway. So what I'm going to do is edit the inbound rules so we can add the rule. So click Edit Inbound Rules. We'll add a rule. The rule we want to add is to allow HTTP. That's going to be port 80. And what we want to do is, since we don't know the IP address, the source IP address of our users out in the world, we want to allow all IPv4. It's a web server. This is the nature of a web server. We want to allow all access. In the AWS does provide other firewalls. They have a web firewall or a web server firewall that we could use, a WAF, and that would provide even more rules and tools to help us to filter out inappropriate requests from our web server. So right now we're not doing anything like that. And notice that they're just giving you a warning, hey, you're allowing access from everywhere, and typically you only want to allow it from known IP addresses, but a web server needs to allow access from everywhere, so we'll save the rule. Once we do so, we can come back over to here and just do a refresh of this page. And now you can see that we're able to interact with our web server. Note here that the slash through the lock indicates that we're using HTTP and not HTTPS. HTTPS is a separate rule. And we can see that rule here. For the purposes of the course, we're not using HTTPS. That requires a separate certificate, and that goes beyond the bounds of this course. So for our purposes, we'll be sticking with HTTP. In practice and in production, you would want to avoid HTTP and use HTTPS. the secure version. So we'll go ahead and hit cancel on that. One last thing, when we were in instances, and I had noted to avoid using this open address link, if I select it, it is possible that it will attempt to use HTTPS, which will be blocked. Now, we know the web server is available when it's using HTTP. It's not available if we're trying to use HTTPS. So it's being blocked. So keep that in mind. Avoid using this. Once again, make sure that you use the copy public IPv4 address to clipboard link and then just copy and paste it in. All right, that's it for this lab. We're going to, excuse me, that's it for this task. There's more to the lab because we're going to resize the instance type and we're going to resize the EBS volume in the next step. See you in the next task.